Inside the Haiti Earthquake is a first-person simulation based on and created with real documentary footage from Haiti. It is not a game. Nobody's keeping score. These are two of the first things that the simulation informs its users when it is launched. When a participant launches the simulation, he or she is given the choice to go through it as an aid worker, a journalist, or a survivor. Each scenario has several different paths with different consequences. The paths that the participant goes on depend on the choices that he or she makes. Throughout the simulation, the participant is faced with several real-life decisions before an eventual outcome is reached. It gives participants a glimpse of the devastation in Haiti through the eyes of an aid worker, a journalist, and a survivor. This new media project is about the earthquake that occurred in Haiti on January 12, 2010. Just 4 years ago, the worst earthquake to hit the Caribbean in 200 years struck the nation of Haiti. More than 200,000 people were killed, more than 300,000 people were injured, and about 2.3 million people were displaced because of the earthquake. The simulation is meant to show some of the different decisions the survivors, aid workers, and journalists were faced with, and how these decisions affected their goals. For example, as the journalist, you have to send your editor clips. You can choose to commit to a certain angle for your story before you understand what is actually going on in Haiti. This will affect your story, your job, and the outcome of the scenario. It also is meant to show that the fates of the aid worker, the survivor, and the journalist are all interdependent. As the simulation says, how they decide to pursue their goals can put them into conflict with each other. There are 3 different main sections: the aid worker, the survivor, and the journalist. Through each of the scenarios, the participant is faced with several real-life decisions. There are multiple paths throughout each section of the piece. As the simulation progresses, each decision you choose to make leads to another choice until you reach the eventual outcome. After making a decision, the story progresses and the narrator narrates the next video clip, which is the outcome of the previous decision. Usually, this leads to another choice. Each of the 3 characters' fates are interdependent. Although they are 3 different sections, each character plays a part in each other section. For example, when going through the simulation as the aid worker, the participant is given the choice to work with the journalist. At the end, the participant is given the choice to go back and try a different path as the same character, or try either of the 2 other characters. The launch page of the simulation is dark, with the only colors being the colors of the different characters. The entire simulation is made up of real-life video clips that portray the devastation in Haiti after the earthquake. Before the simulation begins, there is a warning that it contains graphic and disturbing imagery. This imagery helps participants experience and see the severe devastation that the people of Haiti and even aid workers and journalists have gone through. The simulation utilizes mostly video clips with the use of text, photographs, and some digital design. The entire simulation is made up of real-life documentary footage. The video clips portray what it was like in Haiti after the earthquake through the eyes of a survivor, an aid worker, and a journalist. The video clips are separated by little blurbs of text that present the participant with the decision he or she has to make. After making a decision, the simulation progresses and another video clip, the outcome of the previous decision, is shown. Usually this video clip leads to another decision, which leads to another video clip, and so on, until the final outcome is reached. There are also a few times during the simulation when a digital cell phone pops up. This adds to the simulation as you, the journalist or the aid worker, are being contacted by somebody outside of Haiti. These components are used to engage the participant and to help inform him or her about the earthquake in Haiti and how it affected the people. Survive, report, save lives. The simulation gives participants the opportunity to accomplish all 3 of these goals. It is a simulation, so the participant is given several different choices throughout each section. Each choice leads to a different path. Some choices lead to dead ends, and you as the character might have to choose an option you didn't previously choose to get to the right path. The participant eventually reaches an outcome in each scenario. Overall, the simulation was easy to navigate. The simulation definitely affected me emotionally and intellectually. There are several choices I made that were choices I wouldn't have had to think about. It really makes you think. Some decisions you might believe are correct aren't actually the choices that you should make in this situation and lead you to dead ends. Sometimes you have to choose other choices you didn't make previously in order to continue. Being a journalism major, the journalist scenario was very interesting to me. Some choices I made weren't necessarily the correct ones, and so I had to go back and try again. The simulation also informs you of what's going on in Haiti. The video clips and images are graphic, but they are real-life images. It also really affected me emotionally. The images and videos were real, and just learning about the devastation is heartbreaking. As a journalist or the aid volunteer, the same voices narrate both of these. However, as a survivor, it is a different voice, and that alone affected me emotionally. There also is a personal relation because I know several people who adopted children from Haiti after the earthquake. My brother also volunteered in Haiti after the earthquake at a vocation Bible school and brought back stories of the devastation. One of the things that really struck me is the outcome of the survivor in the simulation. One of the last decisions says that you hear singing and you are given the choice to go towards it. Once you decide to do this, your immediate needs are taken care of and there is still hope. My brother brought back stories of the young children he met in Haiti and how they still have hope. I think each choice was made by the creator because it was meant to affect the participant emotionally while informing them of the situation in Haiti. With the help of new media, people who may never be able to travel to Haiti are given the opportunity to be an aid worker, a journalist, or a survivor. The participants are able to see the devastation through their eyes and are able to make decisions that are based on real life. This wouldn't have been possible without the use of new media. The creator's decision to use real-life documentary footage that was at time very graphic made the simulation experience more educational for the participant. In my opinion, it made it more real, more heartbreaking, and even more powerful.